and welcome. Opportunity to have sisterhood time. If everyone that's on the call would please make sure that they mute your phones, but definitely stay very, very connected and close to them in case that you have a question or a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Right now, we'll be ready for prayer. Please pray in the manner in which you're accustomed. In the most holy name of God, our Father, we pray, oh God, please come this afternoon and make sure that you bless our callers, you bless our attendees, you definitely bless our special guests with wisdom, with knowledge, with understanding, and with your energy and your spirit. We ask that everyone on this call will be touched by something. We ask that everything that is shared within this divine space is used for your glory and for your good. Oh God, we always come with our sincerest intention and our sincerest motives so that you can bless us and use us, that we may be better servants of you. Amen.
Amen. So welcome again. That prayer was given by our own founder, Sister Dr. Wakiti Muhammad, and I am Sister Queen Sadia. And tonight we're going to have us a fabulous time. As you know, our Queen Calls, our monthly Queen Calls, are typically the last Thursday of every month. But this month we've had to move it a day early because most of the queens will be out of town for a conference. But we thank you for adjusting your schedule to be with us on tonight. And tonight's topic is Queens Rejuvenating Their Temple of God while Conquering Fitness, Food, and Family. So we're going to be conquering some things on tonight. And our special guest that we have with us tonight is Dr. Michele Claudette Reed, a.k.a. the Fit Doc. Are you there, Doc?
I'm here.
Good, great. So you have joined, yes, you have joined the Queendom, and your constituents are awaiting a wise word from you. But before we get started, I just want the queens to know who this queen we have on the line, who she is. And when I tell you this sister's resume, it's like a scroll. It just keeps on going and going and going, and all her phenomenalness. And so I'll just read a little bit and then tell you about my experience on meeting this kindred spirit. So Dr. Michele C. Reed is a board-certified family medicine physician. She's a public speaker and a best-selling author. She serves as the owner medical director of the MS Family Medicine Healthcare PC, a holistic practice that serves diverse communities through 2 offices, locations in New York. That's 2 offices, and that's a holistic practice. So Dr. Michele has been featured on The Rachel Ray Show with Dr. Ian Smith and Sonny Anderson of the Food Network, Government Technology Today magazine, Newsday, Verizon's FIO News 1, Push Pause, the New York Daily News, Ebony Magazine, Essence Magazine, Heart and Soul Magazine, BlackDoctors.com. She is also a weekly contributor to the Late Night Parents with Ted Hicks. Her debut book, Mentally Fit, Physically Strong, The Fit Doctor's Guide to Real Life, Real Fitness, Real Health, which was released in May of 2017, and it became a bestseller a month after in June 2017. So, her resume goes on, but what I can say about her is she is a phenomenal wife and a partner with her husband, who is also a lawyer, Esquire attorney Scott Kershaw, and they joined together in a joint venture managing NX Generation Athletics. And so she has this physical fitness, physical wholeness, healer aspect about herself. And when I met her a month ago to this day, there was something about this sister's vibrant spirit. When you look at her, you know the sister is fit. There's no doubt about that. And she takes her fitness very seriously. But it's not just her fitness on a physical level, but fitness in a spiritual, or fitness in a mental and emotional level as well. And when you meet this sister, now she's what you call a sister's sister. and immediately you're drawn to her aura and her spirit, and she's just so loving and just so kind. And, you know, I can go over her resume on and on and on, and she's done so much in her community and for her community. And, you know, let me just introduce her. Doc, introduce yourself and just give us some more about who you are and what you do.
Wow, Sister Sadia, I don't think I need to say anything else after that introduction. Yes, wow. Well, thank you very much. And I guess happy anniversary to us if it's been exactly 1 month when we first met each other.
Yeah, yes. It's been awesome expanding the sisterhood, and that's what we do in Queendom Come. You know, it's all about empowering the queens. It's also about expanding our sisterhood, because there's so many resources that we have amongst each other that in order for us to reach the health and the wellness, spiritually, emotionally, physically, you know, we have to collaborate, not compete, but collaborate with each other and exchange resources and ideas, you know, so that we can be better and enhance our queendom. So we thank you for being on this call.
Yes, and I definitely have to agree with you, because the way I was raised is that it's always important to give back to our community, to our family, and to everyone who we come in contact with. And as a doctor, that's something that I like to do, but at the same time, I developed the brand FitDoc, where I can step outside the office and inspire people who weren't even thinking about staying healthy to want to be healthy, because of all of the different things that we have to do in all aspects of our life. And I'll even take, for example, this morning, I received a text where they were talking about how Wendy Williams, who everybody knows Wendy Williams from the Wendy Williams Show, is going to have to take a hiatus. And she's encouraging women to take care of themselves, because she was diagnosed with a thyroid disorder. And it was causing her to feel tired and to feel weak. And I think at one point in time she even fainted while she was, you know, doing something for her job. But as females, we do so much, and we have a tendency to put ourselves last. And as a physician and as FitDoc, I'm telling you that you are the most important person right now on stage, and we need to work together so we can keep you as healthy and as fit as you can be, so you can do all of the things that you have to do personally, for your family, for your job.
So I have a question, Doc. Mm-hmm. Now, when did you make a decision, a conscious decision, to go into medicine and to focus on the overall well-being of not only just your patients but yourself? Because I know it's been a journey for you, especially you having the practices that you do have, the two medical practices, plus the joint venture with your husband, all the community stuff that you do, and then you have two 14-year-old twin sons. When did you make this decision, and how do you balance this?
Well, the thing is, like, growing up from the age of 4, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, 4 or 5 years old. But to fast forward, in medical school, you don't learn how to prevent people from getting diseases. Medical school, you learn more so as to how to recognize a disease and how to treat a disease. And when I started to practice, I realized that people are coming in and they weren't really embracing what they needed to do for their health. It's more reactionary. Oh, my goodness, I woke up, my head is bothering me, I need to go to the doctor. Oh, no, I think I feel a little dizzy, I need to go to the doctor. People were not going to the doctor or coming into our practice saying, you know what, I have an issue. I don't want to wait until I have an issue, rather. Let me go on a daily or a monthly or a weekly or even a yearly basis for a physical so I could be healthy. And I noticed that I was doing a lot more, let me give you antibiotics, let me give you medicine to treat this, as opposed to really making sure people were doing what they were supposed to do, so they weren't coming into the office with high blood pressure or diabetes or high cholesterol or not being at healthy weight, and then having to discuss with them that their child is a pre-diabetic or that their child has high cholesterol and they're like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So I think early on in the practice, I sort of had the shift after residency that I really wanted to keep us healthy and to focus more on prevention. And with myself, I've always been involved in sports in some aspects. I like to run. I like to ride my bike. I like to lift weights. So I've always been active. But just like everyone else, when I had the practice became very consuming initially because you're spending a lot of time building up the business and helping it to grow. And there were times that right after I had my children that I was not eating as healthy as I should. But I realized, you know what, I can't live this same way and still exist and do everything that I have to do. And I didn't want people to go through any hardship because they're seeing what I'm doing. I'm telling them one thing, and I wasn't truly embodying and doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that was early on in the practice where I was like, you know what, let me try and really be more diligent, and then also let me work on changing the mindset of my patients as I change my mindset so together we can be healthy and we're focusing more on prevention as opposed to treating diseases.
Yes, absolutely. So can you give us some tips on, practical tips on what we can do as, I guess we say, type A personality women who do so much, Black women?
Oh, well, I guess, especially as women, we have to realize that we can't do everything. And we're not meant to do everything. And we don't have to feel that we have to balance and everything is perfect. Our life is not perfect. And we can't strive for perfection, but we just have to be happy and satisfied with doing what we know and what we feel is the right thing for us to do. And what is that? For the first thing is we have to take care of our temple. We cannot abuse it. We need to watch how we eat. We need to watch how much sleep. We need to watch the relationships that we have, because when we're around people who are what we like to say as toxic people, that brings us down. And when that brings us down, that changes our mood. That can cause our blood pressure to go up. That causes our stress level to change. So watching the relationships. And at the same time, really be happy and really find something that you enjoy to do as far as a form of exercise. Just right now, we did a quick 45-minute workout, and one of the ladies was like, "Oh, I hate you, Dr. Reed." And I was like, "Why do you hate me?" And I said, "Because your birthday's in August. You're planning to have a birthday party for your 60th birthday, and you're going to enjoy all those compliments that you're going to get from your gift." And so she said, "Yeah, that is true. I don't hate you. I just don't like what I'm doing right now." But when I finished the class, she's like, "Oh, this was so much fun. You know, I feel really good." So I'm like, "You want to do like an extra 15 more minutes?" I said, "Because I can do another." "No, I'm ready to go." So find some type of exercise that you like to do. For me personally, I use my morning as a time to sort of figure out how my day should go. I use that time as meditation, where I center, I thank God for all the opportunities that He has given to me. I thank Him for the opportunity of having patients who trust me enough so that they can be open with whatever problems or whatever needs that they have. I thank Him for my family, for the health of my family, for my health. And at the same time, I also ask Him for patience, because there are some times where I'm just like everybody else. I want to just throw in the towel and just go on and just do something else. But I thank Him for patience, and I ask Him for me to be able to practice patience throughout the day. Even in trying situations, when I'm talking to someone, a patient who feels that they've done everything, and I'm telling you, no, you haven't done everything. Let's try and switch it up and do that. So that's one thing. One thing would be to meditate. Another thing is we all make sure that we feed our children. We make sure our children have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Are we doing the same thing? More than likely, most women aren't. We're busy taking care of our children, taking care of our husbands. We're neglecting ourselves. We are not breaking the fast from the night before. So breakfast is the most important meal that you can have because it gives you the energy that you need to go throughout the start of your day. The next thing I encourage you to do is to get your rest, 7-8 hours of sleep. That's what most people need to have. And with that 7-8 hours of sleep, that's going to help you to focus. That's going to help you to be refreshed. That helps your body get back into balance and to reset. So get to sleep. Drink more water. That's the next tip because we love to drink everything else but water. But I would say that if you are under 200 pounds, you should take your weight, divide it by 2, put ounces on the end. So if you are 160 pounds, take it, divide it by 2, we get 80, put ounces at the end, you should be drinking 80 ounces. Some people might say, well, how am I going to drink 80 ounces in my day? And what I'd like to do is I say, you know what? You're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner because you know the importance of eating all those meals. Drink 10 ounces of water before and after each meal. And if you're having your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right there, that's 60 ounces of water. And in between your breaks when you go to the bathroom, between breakfast and lunch and dinner, and before you go to bed, just drink some more water. And before you know it, you'll be up to 80. But if you're above 200 pounds, I like to say, you know what, anywhere between 90, especially if you're doing physical activity, so like 90 ounces should be probably the max that you're doing if you are physically active.
So for me, if I had to do my calculation, I'm supposed to be drinking about a half a gallon of water a day.
Yes, and that's doable. That's very doable. It really is. Mhm. And I mean, because we'll always reach for something else. We'll reach for the soda. We'll reach for the fruit punch. We'll reach for orange juice. We'll even reach for some alcohol faster than we'll reach for water. But if you drink the water, but you know, and one of the other benefits. Yeah, but one of the benefits of drinking water is it also gives you clear skin. It helps with your bowels, so that way you're going to have a bowel movement on a regular basis.
Let's talk about that colon, because we need to underestimate the importance of having a regular bowel movement. We don't want to talk about that. That's a taboo conversation, but that's a very important conversation.
Yes. Well, especially as African Americans, the age that we need to start doing colon cancer screening via colonoscopy is age 45. Originally, it used to be 50, but now they've pushed it down because we're seeing a higher incidence of colon cancer in blacks, and that's why now the age is 45. But now they're talking about across the board for all races is to change it to probably be 45. But if you notice that you're having any symptoms, your bowels become irregular. And when I say irregular, maybe you're going every day, and then all of a sudden you start going every 3 days. Or maybe your stool becomes harder. Or even if your stool is nice and cylindrical and all of a sudden it becomes skinny like a pencil, those are signs that you need to get it checked out.
Okay, that's theory. So in your practice, how much of cancer have you seen?
We've had, as far as percentage, it's been a fairly low percentage. I would say less than 15% of our patients have been diagnosed with colon cancer because as a physician, we really try and be proactive and practice more prevention so we're not seeing things. And if we're seeing things, we're catching them a lot earlier because I really stress the importance that my staff stresses the importance of taking care of your body and paying attention to the different signs that you might pick up. So maybe you notice that you have like a little blood when you wipe yourself. Maybe that might be a sign of that you might have a hemorrhoid, or maybe that might be some sign that you're having some type of internal bleeding, some intestinal bleeding. Maybe you might start to get nauseous, or you might start vomiting. So you really become more in tune with the different symptoms that your body will be exhibiting, as opposed to, letting it fester. And then when you come in, there's a mass because you waited too long to get it checked out.
Now, I hear you talk a lot about the physical aspect about the body, but how much of the emotional and the mental aspect affects one's body physically? And how do you do that?
That's a major role. And the thing is that trying to get people to the right mindset is really the key to overall health. And the thing is if we can encourage people to really just think about their reason for doing different things that they're supposed to be doing, that's what shapes them. Because I'll use it for an example. I'm pretty sure now with everything that's going on with Wendy Williams, we're going to have people that are going to be coming in and tomorrow, and they'll be like, can you just check my thyroid because I'm really concerned because, I see Wendy Williams has this and I've been feeling tired. Not realizing that, we've been checking your thyroid every year and everything has been fine. But it's getting people to the right mindset, and that sometimes is the hardest thing. Figuring out your reason of why you're not making your health the forefront of everything that you have to do. Because if you're not there as far as mentally, you're not going to care about anything because that's going to change your overall mood of how you see things. Maybe you had an argument with your husband. You go to work. You're not going to be on your A game because you're busy thinking about the argument that you had with him. You know what? I'm mad, so I'm going to be mad at work. So your coworker comes in and they say something to you. You snap back at them. Then you go home, and then you're snapping back at everybody else because you're still upset because of what happened earlier in the day. So let's work on changing your mindset. Yes, you had an argument. It's not the end of the world. Let's figure out what you can do to get your head in the game, do what you have to do, and then when you get home, deal with whatever the issue is. Because mentally, spiritually, physically, those are all the aspects that make you who you are and that makes up your temple.
I want to talk about food, Doc. In our culture, black culture, especially black women, I've seen as when we're with our children and we want to console them, and typically what we do in order to console our child is we pick up something sweet or some type of comfort food and give it to them to kind of hush them, keep them quiet, a lollipop, ice cream, whatever. And what happens is as we get older and we deal with the stresses in life, then what we do is we go to what our mothers gave us back in the day and we search for that comfort food. It takes me back to that fireside chat we had where we talk about our food fix. And we're going to talk about that on another call, a Queen call. But, yes. In order to rejuvenate the temple, rejuvenating meaning to bring back to life or to make young again, can you talk about the importance of the right food, not only physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally?
Yes. I mean, going back, and even if we think, because I have Southern roots, and I remember growing up and we would head down south or we would be down south and headed back north, we would always have to have some fried chicken because fried chicken was easy to eat and it didn't matter if it was hot or cold, but you would have fried chicken in the shoebox. And that's what you would be eating in the car ride. Was it the healthiest choice for us? No, but that's part of the culture. That's how we were raised. So now what we're trying to do is introduce the healthier food choices to people. So to realize, you know what, you're traveling down south or you're traveling wherever you're traveling, maybe if you have like some sandwiches, pack healthier sandwiches. Instead of using white bread, maybe use multigrain bread. If you are a vegetarian, because right now we're having a lot of people who are vegans. So all because you're a vegan doesn't mean that you're eating as healthy as you should. So for us, it's more so proper education and realizing at the same time that we can't reward our children with food because, you got an A in class, like let's go and get a Happy Meal from McDonald's. No, let's maybe figure out some other way of, quote unquote, treating you for the good work that you've done. Because a lot of times, yes, we do associate food with memories, but let them be happy and healthy memories. I remember growing up, we'd have a birthday party at McDonald's and you wouldn't think about it. But now I don't think anybody has birthday parties at McDonald's because we realize that McDonald's is not as healthy for us. So we're going to and offer our children more healthier parties.
Right. But you still see, we have what you call cognitive dissonance. We know better. We just don't do better.
But, as a physician, my job is to make sure that we know and that mentally we figure out why we're not doing better, because we know in our heart of hearts, we know what to do. But it's sort of just helping people develop their reason of why and why not, and to steer them in the direction. Because even for some patients, when I talk to them, they're like, oh, I don't have time to do all this. But I realize that we take the time for what we feel is important to us. You feel it's important for you to go get your hair done every 2 weeks. You feel it's important for you to go get that manicure and pedicure. And you will sit there sometimes without an appointment and wait for an hour before they would take you. Or you go get your hair done and the lady will shampoo your hair and you'll be sitting there waiting for them to come back to you for a half an hour, 45 minutes. So whatever you feel is important, that's what you're going to put your energy in. So until people realize that it's important for them to take care of their health, and, as a doctor, my job is to make sure that that's what I do. You come to me, we do your physical. You find out you have high cholesterol, but you don't cook. You like to eat out. So maybe we need to have you see a nutritionist to start to help you to introduce healthier food choices. Can't always have pizza. So maybe you need to have, I was talking to one of my patients, and she was talking that she's decided to do one of the meal prep services like Blue Apron. And she said for her, that's been the easier plan for her because she doesn't necessarily have time to go out and shop. She's not exactly the best chef, but at the same time, she's able to make these meals just by reading the recipes, and she gets all the products straight to her. Mm-hmm. So that's what she's done to have more, quote-unquote, balance to her life. And at the same time, it's a healthier balance to her life.
Yes. So you've given us all of these wonderful tips and tools. Talk to us about your book and, how can we purchase your book? What can we expect to find in your book?
Well, I like to say Mentally Fit, Physically Strong, the Fit Doc's Guide to Real Life, Real Fitness, Real Health is my gift to the world. And because that way they have me that they can take home with them, and I'm always with them. I recall, sometimes patients will be like, you know what, I was getting ready to do something that I know I wasn't supposed to do, and I can just hear your voice. Well, so instead of hearing my voice, they can still hear my voice, but now they have my written word. And Mentally Fit, Physically Strong is 6 chapters. And I like the book because it sort of has like an exercise/running theme. Mm-hmm. But at the end of each chapter, I ask you questions. During that time, that's when I really want you to focus on where you are and what you need to do. the way I designed it, I want it to be conversational. So it's almost like I'm sitting in your house talking to you about your life and why you want to make the change, and encouraging you to really be vigilant about making the change so you can stay committed. So if I take the first chapter, for example, it's called The Starting Line. So one of the questions is, the starting line presents an inner dialogue that can be filled with a range of emotions: fear, excitement, anxiety, uncertainty. What emotions are running through your head right now as you begin a life change or a very big decision? And how do these emotions influence your behavior? You're standing at the starting line. You know in your heart of hearts that you need to be healthier. You want to be around for your children, for your husband. You don't want another woman to step into that role to do your job.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So,
not if I can help it.
It's real. And that's what I tell my patients. There are certain things that you can prevent. You can prevent high blood pressure. You can prevent high cholesterol unless you have a family history of high cholesterol. You can prevent prediabetes. For the most part, we can control our weight by what we eat and what we don't eat. Cancer, HIV, things like that we don't necessarily have cures for, but we know that certain things can increase the likelihood. But other than that, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, we can control. So why aren't we doing what we have to do to prevent those things from happening? My mom, she might be listening, or she might be at the movie still, but she's not at a healthy weight. She's lost weight since her stroke that she had last year. But my family history with my grandmother, my mom's twin, my mother's brother, is obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And guess what? If I don't do everything that I have to do, I'm going to be that next generation in line to get it. And if I don't change what I'm doing, the next generation will be my children. So it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is about our mindset around foods, our mindset towards exercise, our mindset to making sure that we are the primary focus in our life. And that saying, health is wealth, that is so true. Because if we're not healthy, we cannot do what we have to do, what we've been placed on this earth to do. But
that's right.
You have my gift, which is Mentally Fit, Physically Strong, which you can get on Amazon.com. And
for those, we put the link up. We put the link up for you, Doc. So all they have to do is go to our Queendom COME, and there's the direct link to get Dr. Michelle Reed's book, a.k.a. Fit Doc's book. So it's there, Doc.
Yes. And, I think with us, especially as women, since we give so much, we feel it's wrong for us to be selfish. And I need for us to realize that we can be selfish, but in a healthy way. We hear the saying, you're on the airplane, and they said in case of emergency, make sure you put on your oxygen mask before you help anybody else. The same thing applies to our life. We have to be selfish in taking care of ourselves so we can then take care of the needs for others. So many of us now are responsible for our elders. We're responsible for that, taking care of our parents. Why aren't we realizing the importance of taking care of ourselves? Right. We have to realize that we need to change our mindset and make ourselves a priority. Because another woman will step in that role in a quick flash. Our children might not be happy, but that's what's going to happen. That's the reality if we don't do what we have to do for ourselves. Even during exercise class, one of the people were joking because they said, some something? And I said, oh, yeah, I saw my cardiologist today. And they were like, that's funny. And I was like, why is that funny? They're like, because the doctor sees a doctor. And I'm like, yes, I realize the importance of taking care of myself. I'm not going to sit around and have somebody else to, raise my children or be in a relationship with my husband. I'm going to do what I have to do to take care of myself.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So speaking of seeing your cardiologist, is there like a set benchmark where individuals should start seeing particular doctors? If so, I think, was it 40 for mammograms? And, if you can just kind of give us the list for black women, what are the benchmark times that we need to be seeing particular doctors in our lives?
So what I would say is everyone should go, and I'm going to say twice a year to see their doctor. And the reason why I say twice is you go for a physical, your doctor examines you, goes through all your medical history, your family history, reviews the medicine, and keep in mind if you're on any type of birth control or you're taking vitamins, it's important that your doctor knows that you're taking those. We'll go over your social history, we'll examine you, we'll do blood work. I'm of the philosophy when you come to my office, when we do your blood work, I feel that you take the time to come to see me. I am going to take the time to go over your blood work with you because you represent me. When you go to see somebody else, you go to see another specialist, or you end up in the emergency room or the urgent care, you need to know your history like the back of your hand in the medicine that you're on because you are your own advocate. If something is not right, then you need to know how to express that it's not right and to express what you've been told is going on in your body or what medicine you're on. So twice a year, because you know what? You're going to get that physical done, and you're going to go back and have a conversation with your doctor in the office as to what your lab results are. I'm not of the philosophy that if you don't hear from us, no news is good news, or we're going to call you if something comes up. No, you need to come in and understand that your cholesterol is high or that you're pre-diabetic or you know what, everything is fine, but I need you to do this. So starting, I like to say, every year, everyone should have a physical, and that goes from children all the way up. Once someone is sexually active, as a female, I would encourage you to go in, see the gynecologist. Depending on what age, we'll start with cervical cancer screening. We'll start with screening for human papillomavirus. And if you need to be on birth control, we'll talk about birth control. I like to sort of err on the side of caution. We do have some standards that come up from the United States Preventive Services Task Force as far as what is a recommendation, what is not a recommendation. And one of the recommendations is that women do not necessarily need to examine their breasts on a regular basis on their own. But I'm still a little old school, and I've had a good friend of mine who was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 25, and she passed at 40. I've had patients that were diagnosed with breast cancer under the age of 35. So I still encourage, hopefully no one from like any type of medical society is listening to this call right now, but in their breast. Because if you notice any changes, when I say changes, like a lump that might not have been there, any dimpling of your skin, any discharge coming from your nipples, those are the things that I would not want you to wait for a year to come in, that I would want you to, as soon as you notice something is wrong, come in. And a lot of the cases of breast cancer that I see in my practice have been picked up because people have been very diligent about examining their breasts. Depending on what insurance you have, some insurance companies will pay for at $35 for you to go for a mammogram. Some will say for $40. So you really need to check with your insurance company to see what they will pay for. One of the things that people overlook is dental exams. I encourage people to go every 6 months to get their teeth cleaned. You can get infections from your gums that can get into your bloodstream and go to your heart and cause infections. So it's important to have good dental care. Make sure whoever you are kissing has good dental care, because whatever bacteria that they have, by you kissing them, you're going to pick it up too. By you drinking after them, there's an increased likelihood that you're going to get that too. So good dental hygiene between you and your significant other is key. Making sure that you go at least, depending on how your insurance company is, some insurance companies will pay for you to go to get an eye exam once a year. Some will do every other year. But eye care is something that I see that is overlooked, especially in our community, because we're vain. We don't want to wear glasses. So we will be squinting up a storm instead of going to the eye doctor to get our eyes checked. So eye care is key. In your 20s, I would really encourage you to set up a routine. Make sure that you're eating on a regular schedule. Make sure you're getting your sleep. Make sure you're not abusing your body. Really, starting an exercise regimen that you're not, something that you enjoy doing. And exercise in your 20s and 30s could be just as simple as just dancing. But finding something that you like to do, because we take our health for granted, and especially, our millennials, they think they're going to live forever, but the same diseases that we see in the 40s and 50s and 60s can happen in their 20s if we don't take care of our bodies. So the 20s, regular checkups, eating on a regular basis, the same thing, dental and eye. When we get into our 30s, same thing applies, but then that's when we really focus on, okay, will my insurance pay for me to have that mammogram done? Will it pay for me to have a mammogram and a sonogram of my breast done because my breasts are dense? And those are things that when you see your gynecologist, because most people are now seeing their gynecologist like every, at least once a year, depending on how sexually active or if you're desiring to become pregnant, to have a family. So it sort of depends on how often, but you're still going for regular exams with your primary care doctor, but then you're also seeing the GYN. In your 40s, you're still seeing the gynecologist. You may start to become what we call a little perimenopausal, where you are you have a sexual desire, but your sexual desire might not be the same as it was in its 30s. Or you might
perimenopausal?
Harry, you're starting.
Look, I just turned 43. I need to know these things.
You might, like around in your 40s, you might start having these things, the vaginal dryness, things like that. So it's really staying in close contact with your gynecologist on a regular basis. And like I said, 45 is when you're going to go for that colonoscopy, just to make sure everything is fine, no polyps, no growths, nothing like that. And depending on what the gastroenterologist says, they might say, okay, you know what, come back in a year. They might say, come back in 3 years, come back in 5 years, come back in 10 years. If you notice any symptoms, of course, you always go in sooner. In your 50s and your 30s and 40s and 50s, it's really developing a plan, still eating like you're supposed to, still exercising like you're supposed to, going for your annual exams on a regular basis, seeing the gynecologist, and depending on when you became menopausal, we might even say, okay, you might need to go and have a bone density test just to check to make sure you don't have any osteopenia or osteoporosis where you're losing that matrix, that material that's in your bones. But if you've been listening to what we've been saying and you've been exercising, your bones are going to be nice and strong because you've been doing the walking, you've been doing the dancing, you might have even started doing some weights. And all of that weight-bearing exercise is going to make that matrix of your bone be nice and strong and healthy so that if you're walking and maybe up the stairs, you're not going to trip and fall and break a bone. But those are key things. But if you develop diabetes or if you have high blood pressure, we're going to encourage you to come in depending on how old you are. We might say we need to check your labs every 4 months. Or if you're maybe like 60 or above, we're going to say we're going to have you come in every 3 months to have your blood work, because we need to do your hemoglobin A1C to see if your diabetes is under good control. And let's check your cholesterol, and we're going to check your electrolytes just to make sure those are fine, because you're on medicine for high blood pressure, and we want to make sure that your electrolytes are fine and at the same time your blood pressure is good, because we don't want anyone to have kidney disease as a result of medicine or as a result of a disease. So
I have a question.
Those are key things.
Now, we're talking about being able to combat all of these illnesses with food, dealing with our stress. And I'm a big proponent on fasting. And, there's been tons of research out there about intermittent fasting. And I know I'm in the Nation of Islam, and we subscribe to 1 meal a day, how to eat to live, based on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And this was back, in the 60s when the book came out, and now science is backing up, intermittent fasting or eating 1 meal a day, the right foods, because even if we eat the right foods and we don't have the right thoughts, then it's not going to make a difference. Mm-hmm. So what is your take on your patients fasting, just fasting, period, and the benefits on health? And I'll let that be the last question. I'll ask if anybody else wants to ask a question. You can text your question to 832-623-2323, 832-623-2323.
Well, intermittent fasting, I will say, is not for everybody. And the reason why I say that is if you have diabetes, I'm not going to say, let's just have you eat the 1 meal a day and fast throughout. But if you are doing it under the guise of a physician, I think it's fine. Because for me, I'll fast every now and then, and when I fast, it's more so just to also bring me like mental clarity, and at the same time to regulate my body, because I'm not the perfect doctor. I mean, I'm saying I'm fit, doc, because I practice what I preach, and I encourage people to join the whole fit doc experience, because fit's all about you, and I want everyone to be healthy, and I am showing you how we can do it together. So if you're going to talk to me and say, you know what, Dr. Reed, I'm a member of Nation of Islam, or my church is doing a Daniel fast at the beginning of the year, do you think it's okay? And you bring me the plan and we review it together, it's fine. But people who just willy-nilly, like, wake up one day, I'm going to do intermittent fasting, but don't really understand what they're supposed to give to their body, because they think that 1 meal a day is okay if they just go and have a hamburger and, throw on some lettuce and tomato and say that's healthy. No, it's not.
Yeah, so much.
But I'm just saying, so under the guidance of a physician is fine, as long as we are clear and you're clear as to what you are eating and what your healthy choices are. Because I'm pretty sure when you do your fast, you're not going to be like, you know what, I feel a little sluggish. I think I'm going to have some coffee right now. And that's going to count as
my for us, it's really not a fast. It's just something we do every day, Mm-hmm. So our body gets, I know my body has get accustomed to it, but I'm cognizant if I'm not eating all the nutrients that I need, best to be sure that I'm going to gain some weight, because my body's not getting what it needs and it's getting a little bit extra. So even
but
at
the same time,
right.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're eating your fruits, your vegetables, you're getting your proteins, and you're probably also getting a little carbohydrates. Not necessarily from bread, but maybe from beans. But
maybe
it's realizing, it's realizing what you need to eat. And that's the same thing that I was talking about earlier, is where you got all these people who saying they're vegans, but they don't understand what they're eating is not necessarily the healthier food choices.
That's right. That's right. Sister Wakiti, you still there? You have any questions for Queen Fit Doc? our resident doctor.
Yes, Dr. Reed, I'm enjoying everything. It's very, very informative. On the point that you just made as far as the intermittent fasting, and I heard you talk about the veganism, my question was about juicing. I know a lot of people are doing that as a way of fasting and still striving to get the nutrients in with different types of vegetable, fruit combinations, but still wanting to have some level of discipline. So they, use that. And I've heard of multiple different reasons. Some of it is for health reasons and cleansing, where it may be for longer periods of time, 30 days. I know a couple of celebrities now on, it's a viral thing on the social media where they're doing a 60-day cleanse since the beginning of the New Year. So I'm just asking, what do you suggest for something like that, and how to implement that into a diet?
Okay. So what I would say is the best thing is to always discuss it with your physician, because we need to know exactly what it is made up of, that what you're having. So, I have patients that'll make smoothies for breakfast, but at the same time, they're putting in like 6 or 7 different types of fruit. So they think they're being healthy because they're having a smoothie made with fruit, but they're having too much sugar. So, and then you have to tell them, okay, you know what, I'm proud of you, you're making that change, but let's cut it back. So maybe let's have 3 different types of fruit as opposed to 6 or 7. You can go and you can do a cleanse, but let's see what the cleanse is made out of. We're getting, the apple cider vinegar one moment, and then you get the cabbage soup diet another moment. Every time you turn around, it's a different fad. But let's look at the research that's behind it, and let's look at your medical condition. Let's see what you've done in the past, what's worked for you, what has not worked for you. Because I'm all about doing things as natural way as possible. I have patients that are upset because when they come to me, they're like, you know what, Dr. Reed, I want that pill so I can lose weight. That's not me. I don't prescribe any medicine for weight loss. Unless we've exhausted everything possible, and then you know what? I'll refer you to somebody else who specializes in obesity. But let's work through and see what you've done and what you haven't done, because more times than not, we have not done everything that we're supposed to do to make the change. So going back to fasting, fasting is fine as long as it's done under the guidance of your physician, and you do not have any other medical conditions, especially diabetes, because diabetes, you need to be eating on a regular schedule more so. And not everybody who is a diabetic is on medicine. We have a lot of people out there who are what we call controlled off medicine. Basically, whatever they eat is what affects their diabetes, and they do not have to be on any medicine.
All right, that's excellent, Doc.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. You are welcome, Sister Rodriguez.
Yes. So, again, you can get Dr. Michele Reed's book on Amazon.com. It is Mentally Fit, Physically Strong. You go to our Twitter website, and you can get the link there, or you can go to her directly at @FitDoc, FitDocMichele FitDoc Michele R on Twitter. What else are your handles, Doc? Instagram, Facebook?
So Instagram and Facebook is FitDoc Michele Reed for both.
And your website?
Yes. And the website is FitDoc.com, and you can purchase the book through Amazon, or you can even go to the website and check out the website, because I'm getting ready on March 18th to start my 5-city tour, and I want to head down to Houston as part of my tour, but our first stop is going to be in my home base Long Island, New York, on March 18th at 3 o'clock. We're going to kick off with the relaunch of the book and the launch of the Fit Doc website.
Great. And we can't wait to have you down here, Doc. We talked about that today in some ways that we can get the community out since you're such an advocate for the community. Sister Waikiki, we were talking about doing the community boot camp like we did with Hurricane Harvey. So I think that'd be excellent.
Yes, I'm excited about headed to you guys.
Yes, we have a celebrity. So our next queen, you sure? This sister network is phenomenal.
Yes.
So, Doc, we appreciate all your wisdom. We appreciate your scholarship, your expertise. We look forward to seeing you soon in Houston and being on another one of our Queen calls, if you don't mind.
Oh, no, I would love to. Most definitely. I enjoyed myself.
Yes. Sister Waikiki, do you have anything else for us before we close out?
No, just thank you, not only for all of your information this evening, but definitely for service in our community in the way that you do. I've listened to all of your personal testimonies about your family and your friends, and just, that's important to have a reminder within our community of women, just to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and our health. Something that we do not like to talk about is, for some strange reason, we know it's all important. And I heard Sister Sadia mention the cognitive dissonance. It's all important, and we know it is, but we tend to put everybody else's mental health and physical health ahead of our own, and in the end, it drives us crazy. So, thank you for all that you do for our community.
Oh no, thank you, Sister Wakita, thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, well, family, that is it for tonight's Queen Call. You can come back on March 22nd, our regular scheduled program, March 22nd. And on that Queen Call, we have our special guest. She's a sex therapist. Her name is Queen Gwen Butler, and she's going to talk about how to heal after sexual abuse or sexual trauma. And so I think that's a topic and a conversation that as Black women we must have. I experienced the healing myself. I didn't realize how broken I was until I had to face it and just deal with it and handle it in a most appropriate and healthy way. And I was so glad that I had the opportunity to do it in a safe place. And I knew that that's a conversation as Black women we have to have, and we have to start healing from the sexual trauma. In the White community, we've seen the hashtag Me Too, but Me Too has been going on for so long. So that's a conversation that we'll have on March 22nd. And so thank you. We appreciate everything that you've done for us on today on this call, Doc. And we always end when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a whole civilization, and a nation cannot rise higher than its woman. Thank you, and we love you.
Yes, love you too. Looking forward to being in Houston soon with the sisters.
That's right. All right, family. Good night.